Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsy69. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we have another top 5. Yes, we've gone back to the top 5 most played tanks in World of Tanks Blitz. So recently we have had a look at the most popular tanks. Now, the most popular tanks and the most played tanks are completely different things. So the most popular tanks is all about players playing it. How many players play a certain tank? And the most played is how many battles in a certain tank. So it doesn't matter about players as such, it's all about battles. So the top 5. Number 5 is the T57. I am surprised that this is still in the list. It is the only autoloader in this list. Considering how many autoloaders there are in the game, I am surprised this one especially is still in the top 5. Now, I think it's a fantastic tank, but I think, you know, things like the 50B, it just feels more popular than the T57. And you've got other tanks out there, especially the newer line, like the Rinoceronte, is a very, very popular tank at the minute as well. So I'm surprised none of them two tanks are in the list, but the T57 with 34.8 million battles for the last update is number 5. Moving on to number 4. And it is the IS-7 with 35 million battles for the last update. It's only sort of just above the T57, but it's always going to be a popular tank. It's always, it always has been, and it always will be. Now, the thing with this list, none of the tanks in this list was actually in the most popular tanks, so which we done a few days ago. So yeah, it just means people are playing the same tank for more often. You know, less players are playing these tanks, but they're playing them for more often. They're playing them more often. So the most popular tanks, which we see a few days ago, sort of a lot of players are playing them, but they may only be sort of having one game here or there. Where with these tanks, that they are more popular because people are playing them more. So you haven't just got one player that's going out in the IS-7 and then picking another tank. They're playing the same tank over and over. So yeah, and these tanks, they're all tier 10, believe it or not. They are everything in this list are tier 10. So the IS-7 in at number 4 with 35 million battles. Moving on to tank number 3. And we have the Grille 15. Now, this is one of my favourite tank destroyers. I absolutely love this tank. And I get there are going to be a lot of people out there that don't like the tank. But when people are having 40.1 million battles in this tank in a month, it clearly shows that it is still very, very popular. Now, I still think the Waffentrager in tier 9, it is an overall better tank. It can be more enjoyable because, of course, you are coming up against tier 8s, and of course you have the different guns that you can play with that tank as well. But yeah, that's not in this list. Only tier 10s in this list. And the Grille, yeah, 40.1 million battles played over the last update. So the top 4, so all of these top 4 tanks, they're very, very close. I mean, 34 million and 35 million, then you do jump to sort of 40 million. The difference between some of these tanks, I mean, the difference between number 1 and number 5, which is the T57, is like more than double. It's more than double, which of course we will get to. But I get there is a load of people that don't really like the Grille, but due to the sort of the speed of the thing, the accuracy of the tank, honestly, it can be a really fun tank to play, and I love playing the Grille. Yes, there are some occasions where you can be completely ripped apart, but I still think it's an enjoyable tank, and obviously so does a lot of other players. But that then leads me on to number 2. And of course, it is the E100. Now, this is another tank that is always in this list. It's a very, very popular tank. 44.5 million battles played in this tank for the last update. So yeah, 44.5 million battles in one update. It is an awful lot of battles played. And again, this is always in this list. And there are things, you know, there is sometimes other tanks in this line that is in the list. I mean, last month, what do we have? The Tiger 2, the Tiger 1. Normally, one of them are always in the list, in this list. And I thought that would be the same. You know, I still think people would play them tanks more than they play the E100. But clearly not. The E100 is a very, very popular tank, and it always will be. I love the tank, but as I always say, it is definitely a noob man's tank. A lot of people play this tank that really don't know how to play the tank, and it's frustrating because it can be a really, really good tank, but of course you have to play it correctly. Moving on to number 1. And of course, it is the Death Star, the FV215B183. Again, this is always going to be up there. It is always, you know, people, it wasn't in the most popular, but it is in the most played. And I thought it would definitely be in both, if you ask me. But yeah, 73.2 million battles were played in this tank. So people are playing it, and they're playing it often. Now, I get frustrated with this tank, just like for that reason that you've just seen there. You aim, you look at a weak point, and then you do sort of 500 with the Hesh when you should be doing maybe up to sort of 1600. So it's a very frustrating tank, but you know, I am also doing a top 5 most frustrated tanks in the game, and this is definitely one of those tanks that is going to be in there because it is frustrating. You know, let's try again. Let's aim. Let's see if we can get a weak point on a tank. We're going to load up the Hesh. Here we go. Let's load the Hesh. And finally, we do actually get a nice shot. So you've got the T57 Heavy, 34.8 million. And then you have, so that's number 5. And then you have number 1, 73 million. More than double. So the E100 in second place, 44 million. And then this 73 million. So yeah, people are playing it, and they're playing it for a long period of time. And they're playing it like... That's frustrating there. But again, it's always going to be up there as the most popular or the most played tanks. Now, there are a couple of tanks that I thought would be in this list. Of course, as I said, things like the Tigers, they're very popular. I mean, look at that. That was a grey bit. Why are you only doing 500? God damn it. But yeah, things like the Tigers, the KV2 is not even in this list, so that just goes to show that it's falling behind. And then we do have a nice shot like this, so it doesn't always go against you, it can go for you as well. So a beautiful shot there. So let me know in the comments below, are you surprised at any tank in this list? And are you surprised that there's not a tank, you know, like the KV2? Let me know in the comments below. But for now, hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm meadsy69, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye-bye.